It's Friday, 7:30. There's no Leaf game on, so this is probably the next best thing to watch right now. What's going on, guys? Archie here with Wade. Wade, how's it going?
Not bad, everyone. Archie, how are you? I don't have much to say except for this is going to be a good show. There's lots to talk about, and the Leafs are still in first place. Just want to put that out there. Go Leafs, go! How are you, Archie? How's the week going?
Good. I feel like right after we got off the air last week, we already started to look at, oh my God, look at what we got to cover next Friday. Like things just started to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of good stuff. As you mentioned, the Leafs are still first in the league, and we will obviously discuss that as well. So yeah, let's get out right on that topic. Leafs number one, currently 11-2-1, riding a nice 4-game winning streak, and playing the stumbling Montreal Canadiens again on Saturday night. How are you feeling right now?
I feel good, man. You know, it's still a little early in the season to be really like jumping for joy and looking forward to the Stanley Cup playoffs, but it's nice, buddy. It is really nice to have the Maple Leafs in first place and just have this team looking the way they're looking. I mean, even with these injuries that we've had, Thornton's been out, Wayne Simmons now injured for a few games, and he's out long term enough. And Nick Robertson hurt us there. He got a half a game in, and he was out. So our injury bug is we've been bitten, but man, we've pulled through, man, and that's what good teams do. And I mean, what else can you say about the top four guys right now? I'm pretty sure they're all points per game and more than that. Mitch Marner and Matthews are just unbelievable. What a line playing together this year. They just look unstoppable. Mitch is in the right places, making the right plays all the time. Austin Matthews is just, I mean, what the hell, man? He's raised his game I think he's raised his game a few levels, not just another level. He's looking like a superstar of the league right now. And yeah, just, you know, face Vancouver there, got a couple of wins there. Unfortunately, Vancouver's kind of fallen behind in the standings right now. We can get to that topic later. We'll stay on the Leafs, but the Leafs have been playing well. They faced Montreal recently, and they got a good W off them, even though we got outshot, and Montreal played a really good game. They played a hell of a game, actually, and I was getting a little concerned, but that third period, the Leafs find a way to break through, and that's what good teams do. They find a way to win, and Frig, man, we look good, and a couple guys showed up for us, including Ilya Mikheyev, and I've been waiting for fucking ever for this kid to put it in the back of the net, and my goodness, man, he's had so many chances. He's looked good on a top six role for the Leafs, and a little bit of a third line or two at the beginning, but he's looked good jumping up on that Nylander-Tavares line.
Yep.
Man, the guy's so snake bitten, and finally he can grab the monkey off his back and throw him off there, man, because hopefully that builds momentum and gives him some confidence moving forward. And Mikheyev starts scoring. Justin Hall with a clap bomb from the point. I mean, what a friggin' defense. Hey, Archie, like that is a defenseman's goal right there, man. Just set up your own type of 1T. Walk the blue line a little bit or walk the top of the circle and then just put it opposite far side top shelf on Carey Price too. And Justin Hall is, as a Leaf, we're starting to hear a lot more of his character and his personality now. And the guys, we've been told, Archie, from before that Justin Hall is actually a pretty funny guy and he's actually really fun to be around. And it's starting to show now, like his interviews are hilarious, man. He's talking about, Willie was beaver tailing over to me, and but I had this one, and he knows that I'm not a shooter. I'm a passer, but I had that one and kind of looked him off. And he's got some character, personality. I love that, to see that. But dude, other than that, the Leafs are rolling, Archie. They are fucking rolling, and they're playing really well. The biggest test was obviously this Montreal matchup. Everyone was looking forward to it. And another 2 points, another good game by the Leafs. And let's just throw this out there. Freddie Anderson has looked pretty solid the last 3 or 4 games. Last week, we were talking about his goals against average and his save percentage. He had 7 wins or so last week, but now he's up to 9 or 10 or whatever. He's tied in the league lead with Vasilevsky and whoever else. So Good on Freddie. Freddie's been steady Freddie for us, and we know that as Torontonians because of Freddie Van Vliet. It's going to be used for the Toronto Maple Leafs now, as long as Freddie Anderson stands on his head and pulls wins out of his butt for us. So that's what I got to say about the Leafs, Archie. I know that you got a lot to say. Me and you are diehard fans. What's your take on the Leafs? What's going on, buddy?
So, yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said there. Austin Matthews definitely having, a Rocket Richard-inspired award-type season. 11 goals, 5 assists in 13 games. Leads the league right now in goals. 1 goal ahead of Brock Besser, who's on a slumping Vancouver Canuck team. Connor McDavid he's there. He's got 9, but he's slowly slipping down the standings here when it comes to goals. Leads the league in assists, but we've got Marner in the top 4. He's number 4 on that list. Combined points, Marner sitting nicely at 3. And game-winning goals, Austin Matthews also leading that category with 5. So he didn't score in his last game, which sucks because that streak ended, but he still managed the point. So his point streak is still going. I think he's at 11 games or 10, which is nuts. And
I think more, Arch. I think he's at like 12 now. It's either 11 or it's 12 because the only game he didn't score, Bud, was the first game. The first game, he didn't have a point. Yeah. So he's had a point ever since.
And he's only missed 1 game due to that injury. So that's nuts. If you take that out, that's he's putting up some really, really good numbers. Excited to see how the season goes for him. Freddie Anderson, absolutely right. He obviously didn't watch our show, but if he did, amazing, because everything us and the rest of Leafs Nation has been saying, he's done. He looks a lot more focused, a lot more comfortable in net. You're right. He leads the league now. He's actually 1 up on Vasilevsky, so he's got 9 wins. I mean, his save percentage isn't there and his goals against average isn't there, but who cares? If he's getting us wins, I'm good with that. Yep. Those numbers matter more come playoff time. But right now, I'll take them. And you know what? I'm excited to see when we get Jack Campbell back in net, see what he can do for us, steal a few games for us as well. In addition to some of the guys you mentioned, Mikheyev got his first goal. Zach Hyman scored for us. Travis Dermott, a nice snipe coming down the side. And what I love the most about the goal that Justin Hall scored was it's almost like Montreal they didn't respect the shot. They just let him have all the space. And he's got the puck on his stick and he's kind of skating backwards. It's like, no one's coming at me. And he just lets go of a clapper. And I think Carey Price is still trying to look for that puck because he beat Price and that was a nice, clean beat. Like Price had nobody in front of him. That was just straight clapper, self-inflicted one-timer, you want to say, because it was just like he's skating backwards. You kind of look like he's looking for a pass, but it's like, okay, no one's coming. I'm taking this shot. And what a shot that was, man. Like that was not what I was expecting out of him. Loved it. Loved watching that puck go in and watching the replay. It was like, where did that come from? Like, man. So yeah, big win for them. Since then, 2 things have happened to the opposing teams that the Leafs have played most recently. So you mentioned earlier, the Vancouver Canucks are on a losing skid. They played us 3 games in 4 nights, lost all 3 to us, and they're just it's going downhill for them. You got to wonder, Travis Green, how safe is he as coach right now? What's going on with that team? You mentioned earlier something I'd like you to mention again with the moves they made during the offseason. What happened?
Well, it's pretty simple, Archie. In the offseason, a caliber goalie, a guy that built chemistry with their team and was doing really well and kind of carried them. Jacob Markstrom, the goalie, went to Calgary Flames, and he's playing well there for them. You bring over Holtby, who, like we said, just hasn't, ever since winning the Stanley Cup, hasn't been that type of superior goalie in the league. And yeah, the guy has a Stanley Cup and he's still a good goalie, but I think Markstrom was up and coming and he was just in his prime. So you gave up a guy that's right in his prime for a guy that's kind of, on the decline. That hurt a lot. Tyler Toffoli, my goodness, it hurt Vancouver. And then all of a sudden the GM comes out and has some bullshit excuse or statement saying that they didn't have enough time to negotiate that contract. So what the hell does that even mean? If you're a Vancouver Canuck fan, you're pretty pissed off at that statement. And what the hell is going on in the management position for whoever that general manager? It's crazy that he would even come out and say something like that, because there's so much speculation about that being said. And then, just touching on Tyler Foley. The guy is third in goals right now. He's 2 goals behind Austin Matthews, having a hell of a season for the Montreal Canadiens. And he's a huge asset to Montreal, and was a huge asset, a gritty player that was putting in points for Vancouver with 2 Stanley Cups under his belt. And he's only 28 years old or whatever. So I can't believe that they didn't sign Markstrom to Foley. And then here's the other one, Tanev. I mean, how do you let go of Tanev too? I know that as Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I don't know exactly what the cap situation was for Vancouver Canucks, but there had to have been a way to keep at least 1 or 2 of those guys somehow, some way, make it work. Those players, that team brought you almost to the 3rd round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the bubble last year. And hell, it was close to getting to the 3rd round. They looked great. They hit another level. The whole team was playing hard, playing at the edge of their toes. And it looked like they really, we were scared about Montreal this year. Vancouver. Yep. We were kind of, okay, man, this team is up and coming, and they kind of blossomed way quicker than everyone thought with the Elias Petterssons, Bessers, and Horvat's been there a while. But that being said, huge losses in the offseason for Vancouver, and I guess their management team and Travis Green is really feeling the heat of those moves right now, because everyone else, every one of them that has gone over to another team, they're all playing well, and they're doing great, especially for their team. So Vancouver's on a 6-game losing streak, guys. That's really fucking bad, man. That's basically Ottawa Senators level, and you were, like I said, almost pushing for 3rd round playoffs. Just whatever it was, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, or whatever. I can't put the numbers together right now, but when we were in the bubble. So that being said, what the hell is going to happen to Vancouver now? We're going to see, but Travis Green is definitely on the hot seat right now, for sure.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, they're flirting with Ottawa when it comes down to the bottom 2 of the NHL. I mean, Ottawa's on another level. They've only got 5 points in 15 games played with 12 losses. Them too, they're riding a 4-game losing streak. But Vancouver owns the worst streak right now with 6-game skid. So you got to wonder what's happening there, what's going on. Guys like Pettersson are definitely getting frustrated, and you can see it. You can see the team is not that same team, like you said, that was in the bubble. So just looking at from Vancouver's perspective, they've got just trying to pull up here. So their next game is on Saturday against Calgary. So it doesn't get any easier for them. Not that Calgary is that much better, but Calgary is playing stronger hockey, and they're riding a 3-game winning streak. So they're in trouble, man. Like, Vancouver is in a really bad spot right now, and they've also played the most games in that North Division. They've got 17 games played so far. So they're in trouble. They're definitely in trouble, and I want to say Travis Green gets maybe, if this thing goes like 1 win in the next 4 games for them, I think Travis Green is gone.
Wow.
Who replaces him? I don't know, but I think if they don't win at least or start some sort of a winning streak or something turns around, I think he's gone in the next 4 or 5 games. And it'll be a quick thing, kind of like what we've seen happen with some other teams right now. In addition to the Canucks, we mentioned the Montreal Canadiens. Did the Leafs break the Montreal Canadiens? My buddy Igor has not chimed in. He might be working right now. He's a huge Habs fan. Montreal is in trouble. They lost to Edmonton, I believe, last night, right? 3-0?
Yep.
They got shut out last night against Edmonton. And it wasn't so much that they got shut out. It's who they got shut out by. Mike Smith of the Edmonton Oilers shut out the Montreal Canadiens. That's big. That's a big deal. And Montreal plays Toronto next on Saturday. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be hungry, looking for a win. Leafs are going to be looking to extend their winning streak. So it's definitely going to be a really good game. Every time the Leafs and Montreal play, it's always exciting. But this one in particular, you're looking at a team looking to extend a streak and a team looking to end one. So, and it's always a battle between us, and especially with how the last game went, where you could say Montreal played the better portion of the game. I don't know that they outplayed the Leafs necessarily, but they played a better portion of the game. Probably deserved a little bit better of a score, but the goals the Leafs scored on Carey Price were pretty legit goals. I mean, you can't sleep on the Leafs, and I'm loving the fact that, like you mentioned, with Joe Thornton out, Simmons out, Robertson out, we're getting the productivity elsewhere. On top of our big stars are still staying hot. They're still playing well. I'd like to see a little more to Nylander. I'm still on the fence with that guy. I know that he's streaky, and I know that when he's on his game, there's no stopping him. But it's not like Tavares, where he's kind of being the quiet guy, but he's still getting on the score sheet. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Nylander. And I'd love to see Tavares score a little more too, right? But I'm not complaining. We're winning games. We're scoring goals. That's what matters. Montreal, it'll be a good game on Saturday. But I'm not going to be upset if Montreal's losing skid continues, because at the beginning of the year, everybody was saying, Montreal's a team to watch out for. Even still, everybody's still saying Montreal's a team to watch out for. Nobody gives our Leafs credit except for the beloved fans of Leafs Nation. So give us the respect, man. The Leafs are a team to contend. They're not a team to mess with. And I don't think this is just a little short-term thing with us. The team seems to be getting better and better as the games go on, which is not typical. Yep. So it's exciting. It's really exciting to see and to be a Leaf fan right now. Another hot topic we're going to talk about, because we talked about him last week and then things got more interesting. Patrik Laine. So Patrik Laine was benched by Tortorella, and it came out that it was for disrespecting a member of the coaching staff. Since then, it's been the talk of the league. Today, they both came out and said, hey, listen, it's been put behind us. We're moving on from this. I don't think it's going to be that easy. Before I get your opinion, because I know you're going to have a lot to say about this as well, I'm just going to show something here. So Patrik Laine, as everybody saw, played even those minutes in the first period, 7 minutes in the first period, 4 minutes in the second, none in the third, rode the pine the rest of the game. Even, like I said, those first and second period minutes are nothing to be excited about. I expect more out of a guy like Laine. Obviously, Torts is trying to set a message across. This was kind of like a domino thing that happened with Columbus. A lot of things happened in this last week. And so what most people were saying was the reason behind this benching, before the supposed disrespect of a coach or whatever it was, other things were pointed out. So I'm going to show you what a lot of analysts were saying was the reason why this actually did happen. And watching this, I can agree. I can understand why you would. So I'll just pull that up here just to give everybody an idea of what from a hockey analyst perspective was the reason why he was benched. So I just got it pulled up here. So here he is on the bench enjoying his cozy spot, and they're going to look at the shift just prior to, I guess, that one might argue was the reason why. So you'll see him right there, kind of coasting, not really fighting for that puck, loses it, can't seem to get a grip on it. Looks like he's out of position. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. And then here again, they're going to regain somewhat of a control. A battle of a puck happens here. And what's he doing? He's standing between two players, not taking any of them, not even striding. He's just kind of gliding along the ice. And so that's what a lot of people are saying was the reason why the benching happened. Wade, I want to hear what you got to say, because I know that we talked about this last week.
What the hell else do you expect from Patrick Laine? Is this new news? Like, seriously, man. And there's not even, honestly, Archie, there's not even a lot to say, because if you're a hockey fan, you know very well what type of player Patrick Laine is. Yeah, he has a very specific skill set, and that skill set is something in the league that you need 100% on a team, and that's a goal scorer, a natural goal scorer that can, at will can basically score a goal. You're looking at behind Austin Matthews since 2016, the guy with the most goals or whatever, right? So his defensive ability hasn't been there forever, man. And watching him in Winnipeg, it started to piss players off, piss the coaching staff off, and that's kind of what happened to Laine in Winnipeg. That being said, I was reading an article recently, and I showed you, Archie, and I'll just kind of relay this to everyone. But apparently, in the development league and in Finland and all that kind of stuff, where Patrick Laine played before, he had run-ins with the coaches there too. And basically, coaches were trying to teach him the way of the 200-foot game, even the 200-foot winger, of what the positioning is, how you're supposed to fight for pucks. And Laine wasn't having any of it. Even at a younger age, we're talking like 16, 17. This is before even playing in a professional hockey league with adults. So he basically said, I even read an article where he flipped one of the coaches the bird and said, I play the way I want to play because it works for me, and I want to be a different player and a different player than everyone else. And that's what makes me special in Patrick Laine. That's why I am the player I am. I don't need to learn other ways of playing hockey when I can score goals and play the way I do and have a good outcome and impact on the team. That's the attitude that this guy has, Archie. You can't have this attitude in the NHL. You can't have this attitude in the KHL, any leagues. As I was saying, this was when he was like 16 or 17 in the Finnish. And then all of a sudden he played 1 year in the Finnish league or whatever it was. And he had the same issues. Apparently coaches got mad at him, and they even benched him and made him sit on the bench a few times, and actually had him as healthy scratches in that league, in the Finnish development league, when he was like 17 or 18. The draft year, because he wouldn't listen to the coaches. This kid's arrogant, man. What are you going to do? He doesn't want to play the way that these hard-nosed coaches want him to play. Hard-nosed, I mean Tortorella. Already Paul Maurice is a pretty, I wouldn't say he's the hardest coach to get along with or whatever, but Paul Maurice is set in his ways too. He's been around the league a long time. He definitely has a system and a method of winning hockey games. And for him to go over to Columbus, just everyone knew what Columbus was getting. You're getting a goal scorer. You're getting a good power play guy. I don't know if you're getting a good teammate in Patrick Laine. The kid might be all right in the dressing room, whatever, but he just seems kind of awkward, kind of weird. Looks like he doesn't really get a lot. I remember a couple of years ago, the guys were calling him out because all he did was play video games on the road. Remember that? All he does is play Fortnite, Call of Duty, all this stuff, and he never really interacted. So I don't know what's going on, but Tortorella is Mike Babcock 2.0. You know what I mean? There's not really another coach in the league that is kind of stuck in their ways. Like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks sometimes, man. And that goes for how Babcock was for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and how Tortorella coaches still for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He wants every player 110%. He doesn't care if you're the leading goal scorer in the league. He wants you to play like you're the fourth line guy trying to fucking get another shift. That's how he wants you to play. And when you don't play like that for Torts, you're going to sit on the bench. You're going to get noticed. You're going to get reamed out. And maybe this is good for Patrick Laine. Maybe Torts is the perfect medicine for Patrick Laine, but it's also something that's going to take time, because it's not going to happen right away. And I don't know what more to say, but Patrick Laine is still the same Patrick Laine. I think he's fighting for a contract renewal next year.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. He's probably not even going to sign a contract with Columbus. He'll probably try to walk and go play wherever the hell he wants to play. But I don't know, man. What are you going to do? I've also heard funny rumors, Archie, that maybe all this kind of stuff going on in Columbus is Tortorella trying to get fired. They're like, maybe Torts is actually really trying to get himself fired because he just doesn't want to be the coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets no more. Just bouncing off Line A, because I know that these guys are on the same team, and I'm not sure if you have it up in our next what we're going to talk about. But Mikko Koivu, right? All of a sudden, I want to hear your thoughts on this, Archie. Let me know what you think. But Mikko Koivu ends up retiring. I heard he got scratched for the first time in his career by Tortorella. He's a 36 or 37-year-old vet, and he wore the C for the Minnesota Wild for years. Great captain, and I guess he took that as a see you later, Columbus. I'm retiring from hockey. Maybe it was just his time. I don't know. But what are your thoughts on Line A first, Archie, and on Mikko Koivu leaving, and just Columbus Blue Jackets organization in general at this point?
So on Line A, I think you covered everything. I mean, I didn't care for him much when he broke into the NHL at the draft, and he said the Leafs made the biggest mistake by picking Austin Matthews at number 1. Anybody right now will look and say, you are fucking crazy, because Austin Matthews by far will be the better player between these two guys for years to come. I don't care the kind of shot that Line A claims to have and the game that he lacks in having, and he's a very one-dimensional player. Austin Matthews broke into the league as somewhat of a one-dimensional player too. He was lethal up front, a power forward. This year, and we saw a little bit of it last year too, but this year, my goodness, his 200-foot game has just blown up. Like, it is like to perfection, as any coach would want to coach it. That is your perfect example. Patrick Laine, you should be watching videos of Austin Matthews, my friend. Never mind Fortnite and playing video games. He's going to find himself riding the pine wherever he goes. He's got a really sour attitude, and I've said it from day one. I don't like it. He's a whiner. He's a baby, and it's just going to hurt his career. It's not going to get him anything. So you're right. I don't see him staying long in Columbus. As for Koivu, it's one of those things where it's like 16 seasons in the NHL, majority of them with the Wild. 37 years old. He's got a year left, I believe, or he signed a 1-year deal with Columbus. 1.5 million, I think it was, just under 2 million. And he wanted to play, come back for an 18th season or whatever the case may be, and just play. He was quoted saying that it came down to him retiring because he wasn't able to play at the level that he felt he wanted to play at. So he called it quits. I found it a little weird and almost coincidental, maybe convenient, that this happened after all this stuff has been going on with Laine. So
and Dubois.
and Pierre-Luc Dubois. And, and it's almost like, is this what you said, like, is this Mikko saying, all right, I'm out, peace. I've had a great career. I'm happy with it. I mean, looking at his numbers, 1,035 regular season games, 711 points. He's not a bad player. I mean, he's put up some pretty decent stats. This year, he had a goal and 1 assist in 7 games. Got scratched. So did he need to quit per se? I don't think so, man. Like, look at Jason Spezza. Look at what happened. This is the perfect example. Jason Spezza got benched. Babcock had no faith in him. In comes Sheldon Keefe. Spetz, you want to play? Show us what you got. And my goodness, he has shown what he's got. And I don't even care from a goal scoring perspective. The man is a monster on faceoffs, and you need a guy like that. So the fact that he was even willing to say, hey, when he got waived, if anybody signs me, I'm out. I don't want to play unless it's for the Leafs. But he didn't say, because I don't think I can play at this level. He can sure play at this level. His heart is in Toronto, doesn't want to go anywhere else. And I respect that and appreciate that. Unfortunately, Koivu, I guess, didn't have that option. He felt he wasn't playing at the level that he should have been playing at. But could this be another issue? And I wrote an article on this last week, too, about Jarmo Kekalainen, their GM, and John Tortorella are they on the same page with this rebuild in Columbus? Are they creating the monster they wanted to create, or are they just about to blow it up? Like, what's going on? Pierre-Luc Dubois gone, Patrick Laine in. I think you just landed yourself a bigger problem than you had. Pierre-Luc Dubois didn't want to play. He wanted out. Patrick Laine wants to play, but his game. He doesn't want to coach. He's uncoachable. So
my God.
It changes things quite a bit. So and if Tortorella's looking for a way to get himself fired, I don't know. But Columbus is in a bit of a shit show of a position right now. Who knows what's going to happen there? And again, I mean, could Tortorella be the answer for another NHL team? Could he be the answer for Vancouver? Who knows? There could be so many things that could happen. But whatever's going on in the world of Patrick Laine, I think he needs to know that he's the only one on that island with himself, and there's nobody on board. And this is a team game. And I think, like you said, you're not getting a teammate or a line mate in Patrick Laine. You're getting a very one-dimensional, play for myself kind of guy. So it sucks. And unless something big happens with this guy again this year, I don't even care to talk about him anymore, except for the fact that he's not going to live up to the expectations that he set out for himself. You ran your mouth at the draft, called out the Leafs, and now look at you. So unlike the guy he was traded for, Pierre-Luc Dubois, not off to a hot start either, but he's not whining about it. He's not crying about it. He knows, he said it himself, I got to improve my game. I know I can do this. And his teammates are saying, we see his work ethic during practice. The guy's here to play. So with him, I think it's just a matter of time before that floodgate opens up and he'll be good to go. Patrick Laine, I think he's going to be stuck for a bit. Speaking of Pierre-Luc Dubois, he actually left practice early today after feeling something tighten up. I don't know. I didn't read too much on it. Were you able to find any information by chance? Or you hear anything about it?
That's all I read to you, Arch. I just saw that he had some tightness or stiffness and that he didn't practice. So we'll leave it at that. Well, if it's not that, it's some COVID protocol or whatever. But I'm sure it's just a little injury or something. He was off for a little while, and maybe he wasn't stretching at home properly or every day like he should have been. And maybe he just pulled a little something in his back or whatever the hell it may be. But Pierre-Luc Dubois, like you said, me and you know firsthand what Pierre-Luc Dubois did in the bubble against the Leafs. He looked like the best player on the ice in that series. So I have faith that he'll be a good player for the Winnipeg Jets moving forward.
Couldn't agree with you more, man. And you mentioned something there that might as well touch base on as well. The COVID list. Steven Stamkos gets added to the COVID list today. Interesting, because he's the only Tampa Bay player who got added to this list. So again, just a reminder, not necessarily meaning that he's got COVID, but contact tracing, whatever the protocols are, has landed him on this list. So how many games now he's going to miss is to be determined, I guess. Was he out partying at the Tampa Bay Buccaneer Super Bowl boat parade?
Sharing a couple of beers with Brady and the boys for a championship? I think so. I think so. I fucking wouldn't doubt that. I would not doubt that, man. I'm surprised that we didn't see Stammer on one of those yachts, but I swear.
So it's interesting, but I mean, you know what? I love the guy. Stammer's always been one of my favorite homegrown heroes here in Toronto. GTA boy. So I mean, hopefully he's good. He's already had a few health scares. Hopefully this is something that'll just, disappear real quick and we'll see him back on the ice.
No Stammer, no Kucherov for Lightning, and they just lost to Florida, who's red hot right now. Last night, Florida's just red hot. I don't want to touch base with it too much, but Florida Panthers, man, what the hell? Bobrovsky's having a bounce back year, and Huberdeau and Barkov are doing it really nicely for them right now. So they're a team that's Ekblad. They're a team that's scary. They're putting the points together, and yeah, I think it all comes down to finally Bobrovsky showed up for them. They're getting some good goaltending, so they're showing what they're made of, and that's really exciting for Florida Panthers, man. They've they're another team, Archie? Like the last 5-6 years, been just knocking at the door with the. I know they let go of Dadonov there to Ottawa, which was a weird one for me, but they seem to be doing all right so far. And Tampa Bay is still Tampa Bay, but you can take Stamkos and Kucherov out of that lineup. Well, you still got to look out for Yanni Gourde. You still got to look out for Braden Point. You still got to look out for Hedman, Strawman, all these friggin' good players, man. So Sergachev, whatever. Vasilevsky's in net still, so you always have a chance he's tied or one more win than Freddie Anderson right now. So Tampa's going to be good, but yeah, hopefully Stamkos pulls through and we see him back. It's always good to see the superstars of the league healthy, so we can see them on the highlight reels in the morning and at night.
Yep, and you mentioned goalies being hot. I'm going to mention a goalie who was kind of lost, Tuukka Rask. I don't know if you saw the highlight, but the game is tied at 2, dying seconds of the third period. This guy books it from the crease and starts skating towards the bench. He's got the entire team yelling at him to go back. The coaches, the players, go back. I don't know how the opposing team didn't score, but this guy thought there was a delayed call and was skating to the bench like nothing. He laughed about it when they got the whistle, and I wonder how the situation would have been if they would have got scored on. That would have really sucked.
Oh, man. Boston fans would have lost their shit, man.
Yeah, especially because
Boston. I think it was just in the clouds. He had his head in the clouds for a second, buddy, and that's all. I mean, it is what it is. I know that they were talking to Andrew Raycroft this morning on 590 there with Scotty Mack and Sigamanis, and Raycroft couldn't. He's like, I can't remember a time that I've ever done something like that. He's like, maybe if it was like 8-1, and I wouldn't know if it was 7 or 8 goals. But when it's a tie game, like it's a tie game. So I don't know what the hell was going through. But Raycroft's actually, I think, settled in Boston right now. I think that's where he lives, so he knows all about the Boston Bruins. And he said that's not a big deal for Tuukka Rask and the management side of things. Like they're really good with each other, and Tuukka's a staple in the organization. So he's the one that can kind of just shrug it off. And the Boston Bruins fans know that he has a personality, and he says it how it is, kind of like when he was in the bubble and he said, I'm just not that into it, I'm going to go home, so he kind of says it as it is, and that's the way it is. But he's going to win you hockey games. So goalies are weird. Goalies are weird, man. Sorry, my goalie friends.
And they ended up winning the game 3-2 in overtime, so it worked out. They got lucky, and then they're playing the Rangers again tonight. That game is actually going on right now, and it's 0-0. Moving along, we were talking about this as it was happening. We were sending each other messages, and it's like boom, boom, one after the other. Brian Burke and Ron Hexdahl to Pittsburgh.
Man.
So Berkey comes off the panel, the guy that we saw for a long time in Toronto, a hot mess, tie always loosely wrapped around his neck, shirt undone, always looking like his life was about to end, and then goes to the panel, cleans himself up, tie done up nicely, nice little Windsor knot going on for him, and now he's heading to Pittsburgh. And along with him goes Ron Hextall from the Philadelphia Flyers, their interstate rivals, across state to Pittsburgh as well. What do you think about this? Like, I didn't think Burke was ever going to come back to an NHL position job.
I thought Brian Burke was a book author, buddy. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Hey, man, Brian Burke, Anaheim Ducks, Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames, Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, we'll see what happens. Ron Hextall still chasing a management position cup. And did Hextall ever win a cup for Philly? Yes or no? I'm not quite sure about that. Did he ever win a cup at all?
No.
Yeah, I don't think he. Pretty sure there'd be a pretty hefty, awesome picture of him hoisting a cup somewhere in the highlight reels. Anyways, okay, so
cup as an assistant general manager with LA. that's as
okay. So here's what I'm going to be as quick as I can, because this topic just kind of frustrates me, because we had this topic before, Archie. Rutherford stepped down and resign because he brought to ownership of the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. The only way we're going to succeed is because we're on the decline right now, is if we sell off a couple of our jersey selling players, that being Malkin and Letang. Crosby, questionable, maybe even him too. They've traded Gretzky. Why not Crosby? Anyone, no one is untouchable in sports leagues. I'll tell you that much. Even Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay Bucks, no one's seen that. That being said, listen, Pittsburgh needs help. They need help, and the only way to get help is to start rebuilding that team, man. Next year, what happens? Pittsburgh gets older, but you're still going to try to build around Malkin, who's like 35, Crosby, who's going to be 34, 35, Letang, who's up there too. So you're going to start building around this core when right now, when these players are still relevant in the league and significant impact players, you could trade them off for first-round picks, high first-round picks, and some prospects coming over. You could refill the whole fish tank with all these new prospects from different organizations by getting rid of one player, man. And we'll see what happens. But that being said, Rutherford stepped down because management said, no, we're not doing this. Hexdahl and Brian Burke, what are they going to do there, Archie? Are they going to go patch it up with the owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins and say, listen, we hear you, but we really think we should get rid of at least one of these players, blah, blah, blah. They're really going to have to stab around the league and really pull some strings with some teams because I just can't really see Pittsburgh doing anything with the same core, man. It's time. It really is time. Like, you've won 3 Stanley Cups. Crosby isn't getting any younger. Malkin is not getting any younger, and Letang isn't getting any younger. Get rid of 2 of those guys, probably Malkin and Letang. Give Crosby someone to play for. You think Sidney Crosby and Malkin, though, don't want to go chase another cup right now, Arch? Oh, you think that they're settled with, okay, I love Pittsburgh as an organization. I wanna go down in the fire and the flames with this organization and sink with the battleship at 38, 39 years old when they should have rebuilt now? I don't know, man. To me, Crosby is a cup machine. Crosby deserves better, just as a Canadian perspective. Crosby deserves better if they're trying to rebuild or do something. I think Crosby should go to a team that's contending and help that team. Same with Letang or Malkin. That's just what I think should happen because I really don't know. They don't really have it. I've heard they don't really have anyone down the pipeline right now that they could trade away. They don't have the first round picks and stuff they could trade away to get other players in. So what are you going to do? We've had this conversation too, Archie. They picked up Cody Ceci and Kasperi Kapanen. Both aren't doing very well for the Pittsburgh Penguins right now, and those are some of their newer acquisitions. Outside of Gensel, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and Yari and DeSmith, who do the Pittsburgh Penguins really have? Like, can you name like their bottom 6 forwards and their 3 other defense other than Letang? Tanev and Letang.
I was going to say,
I don't know, man. Right? I don't know. They're in trouble, bud. I guess Brian Burke and Hexdahl need to. I don't know. They got to pull some strings, bud, because it sucks to see. But I truly believe that it is time for Pittsburgh to rebuild, and the owner should realize this too if he wants to keep the Pittsburgh Penguins relevant in this league. So I don't know. What do you think? Are you with me or are you against me on this one?
No, I'm definitely with you. And when you look at even Kapanen, boy, am I glad that the Leafs didn't hold on to him. He's not doing anything in Pittsburgh.
Was he have a goal?
I don't even know. But the whole thing was
one goal, bud. I think he has a goal and an assist or some shit. Like, this guy's supposed to be a top 6 forward. Hey,
they had him flying with Crosby, and it didn't work. So I'm looking at their salary situation right now. You got Malkin making 9.5. He's there through to the end of 21-22, so next season. Crosby's locked in till 24-25, which makes no sense. at an $8.7 million cap hit.
You keep him 100%. You don't give up Crosby with that.
Yeah, you keep him at that price. I mean, you can't go wrong. I know Montreal fans are salivating because some crazy lunatic put out an article a few weeks ago that Sidney Crosby will somehow be a Montreal Canadian in the next couple of years. I don't see it happening. Maybe in a Jason Spezza move, like way down the line in his final year of playing, possibly. But to take his career right now and move it to Montreal, I don't see that happening. Sidney Crosby is the face of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I almost feel like Gary Bettman would not let that happen. He will give Crosby side bonuses to make sure that doesn't happen because he's the face of the NHL to a degree. And then you got Gensel making $6 million. He's there till 23-24. Jason Zucker making $5.5 million.
Jason Zucker slowed down a bit too, but he was dynamite on the Wild, or was it the Wild? Yeah, he was dynamite there, man. He's slowed down a little bit too. He's not the same player he used to be.
Yep. And then you got Brendan Tanev, which we talked about, and Brian Rust, who had a good playoff run for them, but he's not by any means a star. So that's it. And like you said, you got to find a way to move these guys. And then you look at their defense, their biggest casualty that would be worth trading would be Letang. And if you don't trade him, he's done at the end of 21-22. I don't see him wanting to stick around. And I can see a team that's contending for a cup wanting to pick him up and grabbing him, right? So I don't know what their plan is, but it's funny that we mentioned this because 5 hours ago, apparently Brian Burke did an interview and he was quoted saying Pittsburgh's last team to win, they were the last team to win a cup with a small, fast team. The last 3 Stanley Cups have been won by big, he says, winners have been big. They play long pants hockey. They play ugly hockey. I think we need to look at that and see. We've kept up with the Joneses here. So he's perhaps hinting Brian Burke wants to bring big, ugly hockey to Pittsburgh. He could be right. It all depends on the playoffs, right? Like we don't know the format yet. We don't know what's going on with it and how it's going to be played out. But he's basically looking at Stanley Cup winners are big, tough teams that win the cups. And I don't argue that. I mean, the speed is there, it needs to be there. But at the end of the day, your size, your grit is what's going to win you those 1-0, 2-1 games, 3-2 games, where you try to avoid overtime, right? So it's an interesting dynamic with these two and what they're going to bring to Pittsburgh. Something's got to give. And Brian Burke's a loose cannon. He'll make a move. He doesn't care. If it means answering the call and making the move that he feels will make this team better, he's the type that won't care what anybody else has to say. He'll pull that plug. So I'm curious to see what happens in Pittsburgh and how they react. I'm sure Sidney Crosby is going to have a lot of say when it comes to ownership and them respecting his opinions and what he feels and whatnot. But he could go too. We don't know that. Like you said, bigger players have been traded. You don't know that.
Archie, listen to this. Pittsburgh, when they won the cup, they had a back-to-back, correct? 2016-17, was it? You're talking about players in their prime. You're talking about Malkin. You're talking about Crosby. You're talking about Phil Kessel. You're talking about Patrick Hornquist. You're talking about Gensel there. Who am I missing? Letang. I think Ron Hainsey was even on that team. Then they won the cup there.
You're right. It was this team.
They had a heart, and then they still had Marc-Andre Fleury backing up Matt Murray, and Matt Murray was standing on his friggin' head. Are you gonna find that again? Are you going to be able to find a Patrick Hornquist and a Kessel to bring into this team that are 30 years old? I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. And even if you did, Crosby and Malkin and Letang are still mid-30s. So I don't know what they're going to do. They got to rebuild, and they just haven't been the same ever since they got rid of Hornquist and Kessel, man. That really solidifies the top 6. Think about it.
Yeah.
Russ, Gensel, Crosby, Hornquist, Malkin, and I'm missing someone. Gensel. Russ, Gensel, Crosby, Malkin, Hornquist, Kessel. Right. So that being said, that top six is unstoppable. That's a hell of a great top six line. So yeah, they got to figure it out, man. They got to figure it out, and we'll see what happens, bud. But I totally agree with everything you said, Archie. And we'll see how this unfolds with Hexdahl and Burke there. We'll see what kind of things they can plaster together, or I don't know, maybe they're going to fill some holes, just like the potholes in the city of Toronto, and hope for the best, and try to get through a winner and a Stanley Cup run with that, until it all explodes at the end of the year, and then you got to rebuild something new. So we'll see.
Yeah, and there was some more rumors circling today. The rebirth of the Marc-Andre Fleury coming back to Pittsburgh is another possibility that they might be looking to bring him back after he said he'd like to have another go in Pittsburgh. I mean,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? But like you said, why would you? I feel like Vegas might be at a better position to hoist the cup than Pittsburgh right now, right?
Well, it all kind of depends if Robin Lehner is going to take the reins in those runs, man. Because if Robin Lehner is going to be the go-to guy over Fleury, maybe Fleury would rather go back to his old team that he's won 3 Stanley Cups with and fight for the starting role there, or solidify that role over Yari and Smith, right? Maybe he's going to get, if he goes over there, bud, I guarantee you he's getting told by the management that he's going to be the number 1 starter if they want him there. So,
for sure.
I mean, we'll see. That's just what I think. Who knows? Yeah. He has a lot of ties there. He's built a lot of chemistry, a lot of friendships with Crosby and Malkin, Letang, those guys over the years. I mean, they were together for 12 years from the time that he got traded. So we'll see what happens, man. Pittsburgh, you know what? We can talk Pittsburgh Penguins, Ron Hextall and Brian Burke Crosby all we want, but who gives a flying F, bud? Because the Toronto Maple Leafs are the new Pittsburgh Penguins, and that's all we should be talking about. Sorry, all other fans of all other teams.
On a more broader conversation, the NHL is looking to change the draft lottery. Not many details were released. Bill Daly was just basically saying discussions will be taking place with the Board of Governors when they feel the time is right. Some of the key conversations that were brought up were essentially Detroit should not have picked at number 4. A team like Detroit that's just been broken for a few years now should have had a better pick. And how they're going to do this, they might have to kind of walk away from the weighted lottery and maybe make it a different, like an automatic, hey, if you're dead last, you automatically get number 1.
Yeah. That's the only reason they don't do that, Archie, is because they don't want teams throwing in the towel and tanking, right? And then it becomes a tank fest, literally trying to lose games on purpose, which NHL teams that are doing that will never tell you that they're doing it, and the players will never admit it. Yeah. But there is known teams to have admitted that, oh no, we were kind of trying to throw the towel because we needed a change. Like, we needed something. We needed something positive in the organization. What's more positive on a rebuilding team that's in the fire and flames than a first overall pick in the NHL? So I don't know. But
we'll see. The Leafs are a perfect example of a team that they weren't trying to tank because they weren't guaranteed Austin Matthews. They weren't guaranteed the number 1 pick. We won the lottery. So winning the lottery is a different story. But if you already know you finished dead last, you're getting that number 1 pick, you're right. That now opens the doors to teams throwing in the towel, knowing that, hey, we put on a good 5-10 game losing streak here. We're done. Season's over. We get that number 1 pick. We can focus on next year.
Here's the thing about what you just said, though, Archie. I don't know. I'll agree with you to a certain point with that in 2014 and 15, but the Leafs were selling off and trading off a lot of players that year. They were handing guys away. They were like, bye. Like, we literally had the Marlies coming up and playing. So you could say that we weren't really trying to tank and we were being a competitive team. But I mean, I know that Zach Hyman and Connor Brown and William Nylander know about that 2015 year. And it was like, holy shit, man. We were we had we had at least half the Marlies up on the squad that year for the boys. So, but that being said, though, man, that being said, you still had Babcock behind the bench. He was the new coach at that time, and he was trying to win games and get the hockey culture of Toronto in a more positive environment. You know what I mean? So, anyways, but that's just my 2 cents on that. Anyway.
Yeah. And then our topic we were just discussing briefly before we came live. We both hate the name. They took it to another level. The Vegas Golden Knights really brought out the gold. I'm just going to put the overlay on so we can talk about it here. This was the helmet they went with the other night. I personally hate it. I think it is ugly. It's a chromey gold, C3PO. I don't know what they were trying to go with here. A couple more images of it. Like, look at that bench. Even blurry, it looks horrible. Like, it looks like they're all wearing tinfoil hats. Really ugly. Like, man, I didn't like it. A lot of people were, memorabilia hounds love it because it looks amazing on a display shelf. Won't argue that. Good luck seeing the signature on this shiny thing with a light shining on it. It's just boom, reflective. But what are your thoughts? And I know that we said, if this was a Leafs helmet, maybe we'd feel different, a chrome blue. I still don't know if I would. Maybe it would look cool. This personally, I hate the golden in their name, and this just made me hate it even more.
I hate the golden in the Knights name. I just wish it was the Las Vegas Knights. I've always said that. In medieval times, there was no friggin' golden knights, okay? Like, that's what pisses me off the most. It was the knight in shining silver armor, even the black knight. There was no friggin' gold knight, man. I don't know what the hell Vegas organization or the owner was thinking there, but whatever. Let's move on. The helmet itself, I think that if they matched up that color scheme with the gold in the jersey and like the little gold stripes in the sleeves and the socks and everything, and they matched the same kind of glistening gold effect, that it would kind of lay out better on the eyes. But yeah, just to have the hot friggin' gold shiny, just to have that shine on the top of the player's head there, and then all the other jersey is kind of just the same and bland and kind of meshed in with its colors. It really is it sticks out like a sore thumb, I guess. It's kind of an eyesore. It's almost like a goldfish or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you're attracted to it, shiny. But I think they would have done a better job if they kind of had that flow through the whole outfit that they were wearing that night. So maybe even a little bit of that gold shine on the tips of the fingers of their gloves, stuff like that, dude. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of just how glistening gold it is. It's just too much. It's almost a distraction, right? So, but I totally agree with you, Archie. For a fanboy, a fangirl, it's a great thing to have in the display at home. Like, look at this friggin' helmet. I mean, like, I just want to wear that at Halloween or a party or something. It looks great.
Yeah, so I mean, it's again, it all comes down to their name, and I think you're right. Had they maybe themed it a little bit different, I'm just not a fan of the chrome look. Maybe if they would have gone gold, like you said, to match the rest of the gold accents on their jersey, a matte gold would have looked pretty cool, like Fleury's mask. But even Fleury had a chrome mask on a goalie. I don't mind it. It looks kind of cool. It's neat. But for all of your players on the ice to be running around with this beam of reflecting light on their head, I can't imagine what it's been like to watch this game on TV or even be an opposing player or a fan in the game and having these bright, shiny buckets on their head. So I'd be curious to see if any other team tries it, like Buffalo Sabres, if they went chrome helmets or something, silver. It'd be interesting, but hopefully that's the last we see of those things, because I didn't like them. I wasn't a fan of it.
It definitely gave them some attention, that's for sure, because it's been talked about through the whole league and all the analysts, and everyone's just going crazy about it over social media. So maybe the Vegas Golden Knights enjoy this kind of attention. Maybe they did it because they knew they were going to get this type of attention. And then just kind of going off what you just said, I wonder if in the game, just the lights in the stadium and the rink itself, the reflections you were talking about, I wonder if at any point, like they got shined in the eye or something. I mean, we all watched The Hook with Peter Pan and Robin Williams with the flashy the mirror part of the movie when they, oh, my eyes, like. I think that's what the players were feeling too on the opposing team. Like, holy shit, man! Like, I don't even know which corner I'm going into against this guy. I just got shined right in the eyeball. But yeah, I'm with you, dude. It creates a conversation. These friggin' helmets. We're talking about it. I'm sure everyone else is talking about it. But I hope we don't see them again too. They just don't flow right for me with the whole Vegas Golden Knights look and the jersey. So
yeah. And just a couple comments here from some of our viewers. Joe says, hey, guys. Tyler, hey, guys, as well. And Jeff Goodberry, hey, guys. Thanks for joining us, guys, as always. One last thing I wanted to touch base on. Many people in, maybe not necessarily Canada, but in Ontario, in Toronto, everybody knows Steve Dangle, the Sportsnet guy. Started off as a YouTuber, podcaster, Crazy Leaf guy, has his videos after every game. A couple days ago, he got called out by another Canadian and former or current WWE wrestler, Edge, over who the bigger Leaf fan was between the two of them. So Edge comes out, wearing a Leaf shirt. He's got this amazing looking wrestling championship belt with the Leaf logo on it, wicked looking belt, and basically says he's the bigger Leaf fan, and he makes fun of Dangle, makes fun of his last name and everything, as if that's even your name type of thing, which it isn't, and calls him out. And then Steve Dangle comes back, of course, because it makes sense. You got to feed off of this, right? This is big. And he comes back with his own video, which I'd like to share with everyone now.
Hello, Edge. I caught your appearance on Tim and Sid, and I couldn't help but overhear you chirping my blue room and calling out my Toronto Maple Leafs fandom. And to that, I gotta say, it's an honor to be called out by the rated R superstar himself, the owner of one of the most illustrious careers in WWE history, and more importantly, the owner of one of the grainiest webcams I have ever seen in my entire life. Grainier than a bowl of all brand. But as long as we're talking about the butts, I am the biggest Leafs fan in the entire world. I've been a bigger Leafs fan than you since you were line mates with Christian and Gangrel. No need to brood on it. It's just the truth. Edge, at the end of the day, we're both Leaf fans. But who is the biggest? On this day, I see clearly. Hello, Edge.
So he claims to be the bigger Leaf fan of the two of them. He's got quite the room, quite the setup, quite everything. But Steve, I'm going to argue with you here, bud, because you're 32 years old. I've got 4 years of more crazy Leaf fan on you. Wade, how old are you, buddy?
28.
You're 28, so you come you go below him. But I'm 36. I've got 4 years on you, Dangle. And sorry, bud, I got to say, I think I'm the bigger Leaf fan. And considering we're both in the same region, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for someone to get this in front of Dangle. I may not scream and go nuts and go rant. He may not have known who Edge was. The only Edge he knows is the Edge he's got to talk himself off of after every Leaf loss. But, buddy, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to being a Leaf fan, I don't think you got what it takes, buddy. You're good, but you're not that good. And I've got 4 years on you. So let's go. Let's hear what you got to say. I love it, though. I love the enthusiasm. I love the fact that he's a Leaf fan, and it's led him from, YouTuber, blogger, having his own show, and now he's on Sportsnet. So good for you, Steve, fellow Oshawa friend, Leaf fan, number 2 Leaf fan. And so that being said, thank you for everybody who watched. Good show, Wade. We've got the Leafs back in action tomorrow night, Montreal. Fun times ahead. And we will see you guys all next week for another show, and we'll see how the Leafs are doing by then and what else we're going to talk about. Thanks again, guys. Wade, any closing words, sir?
I definitely like the ending to that show. That was quite entertaining. Yeah, I would like to see a little bit of Steve Dangle versus Archie for the Toronto Maple Leaf fandemonium, who has the bigger kind of flex here going on in their bedrooms and their man caves or whatever. Or I guess you would have to have a one-on-one knowledge kind of test or whatever too, just to go back in Leafs history, current times, present times, and past times, see what's happening. But I do know this, Archie. You are one hell of a Leaf fan, and I definitely love the way you talk about the Leafs and what you know about the Leafs. You're very knowledgeable. You're very educated, and that's why we do the show, and that's why you are the host of the show, because you know your hockey and you love the Leafs, buddy. And Steve Dangle, fellow Leafs supporter, fellow Leafs fan. And I enjoy every single Leafs fan that there is, because there's always an icebreaker whenever you're with a Leaf fan, and it's what's going on with the Leafs, and it just starts the whole conversation. You can just go on for hours and days. But great show, Archie. Thank you so much. It's Friday night. TGIF, stay safe from COVID-19. Let's get over this shit soon. And next week is a new week. Hopefully there's some more exciting news and some more entertaining games that happen. And I just got to say one last time before we go off, Archie. Right here, we are still on top of the whole NHL. We are still in the standings, ranked number 1. And I don't know what the Vegas odds are, but they're probably in our favor to win the Stanley Cup. I don't want to jinx it, but hey, Leafs are doing all right. Hockey's still back. We're still playing. And that's a wrap, man. Thank you, Archie, for everything, buddy.
No problem. And hey, Steve, you know what? On second thought, why don't you just join us on a show and we can talk about this on air on Between the Pipes, and we'll let Wade be our guest referee. Let's do this, Steve.
I'll be the medium.
You and me, Between the Pipes. Come on down. Let's have a chat. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week.